Hey friends, Pastor Bill Walden here, author of the book 31 Blunt Thoughts, Not So Gentle Encouragement for Dense Husbands. Glad you're here. We're going to have a little chapter review on chapter 26 of the book 31 Blunt Thoughts. The title of that chapter is Understand Your Wife. One very short passage for us to spend the rest of our lives pursuing and working on, guys. 1 Peter 3:7. Peter, by the inspiration of the Holy Spirit, says, Husbands, likewise, dwell with your wives with understanding. Now, it is absolutely God's design that men and women are different creatures. Our wives have a temperament that, there's obviously some overlap sometimes. I'm not going to make a hard line of division between the characteristics of men and women, psychologically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. I'm not going to make a hard distinction, but there are obviously some distinctions, and they need to be recognized. Our wives, guys, are built differently than us, and I thank God for that. The strengths that my wife brings into our marriage are things that I just don't have. Her insights, her sensitivity, her patience in certain circumstances, her values, her likes, her dislikes, all of those things. Many times we are very similar. Obviously, we were attracted to each other, so there had to be something there, but many times we are very different. And I will confess, and I think every honest husband would confess also, sometimes I just don't understand my wife. I just don't see what makes her tick. As long as I've known her, I just don't understand this or that about her, why she likes this, why she doesn't like that, why she prefers this over that, those kinds of things. If you don't understand your wives, guys, that's in my book, that's not a failure. They are just different than we are. You can get some guys together around the coffee pot and put some bacon down on paper plates and give them some strong black coffee, and they're as happy as anything. Not as much talking going on, probably, as if women got together. We kind of, and I say this humorously, we kind of grunt and maybe burp, and roll our eyes and nod our heads and slap each other on the back. And a lot of that is done because of instinct. Guys just simply understanding guys. Somebody will say something and everybody will roll their eyes at the same time because we just understand other guys. That's just the way we're built. It doesn't take all that much effort a lot of the time. But sometimes to understand our wives, it takes a lot of effort. To understand women in general, but then especially and uniquely so, and importantly so, to understand our wives. And Peter uses the word, he says, dwell with your wives with understanding. And it's a very, very interesting word in the Greek language. In the New Testament, it was written in Greek. And it's the word ginosko. There's another Greek word. I don't recall what it is. I think it's oido. You scholars can check me on that. And it means to know something by instinct. It's just something that you know. Like guys standing around the coffee pot eating bacon off of paper plates. So you just kind of understand each other. Sometimes not a lot of explanation is needed. But then there's another Greek word, ginosko, as I mentioned. And it means to understand by observation. Which means that we don't understand our wives by intuition. There's not an instinctual understanding of them on many levels, but we need to understand them by observing them, listening to them, watching them, seeing what makes them tick, learning what our wives are like in many instances where we might be confused. So once again, I want to try to maybe soothe your concern if you think I'm a failure or I don't understand my wife. Hey, I don't think that's a failure. What I do think is a failure is if you're not trying to. Because Peter says very clearly, dwell with your wife with understanding, which means, guys, pay attention to your wife. You may have had this happen. You come home and your wife is crying. And you're thinking, uh-oh, these are either tears of joy or tears of sorrow and grief. And I have no idea which one it is. What's the best thing to do? Be quiet and observe and communicate and say, look, honey, what's going on? I see you're crying. Did something bad happen? Did I offend you in any way? Or are these tears of joy? You need to explain to me. Guys, we need to dwell with our wives with understanding, which means we need to put forth the effort to understand them, which means we need to listen, we need to watch, we need to communicate. Once again, don't feel defeated if you don't understand your wife on many levels. I think that's just God's design. Men and women are very, very different by God's design. But I think we are failing men if we're not trying to. And it's going to take repeated effort. And as we get older, my wife and I, 44 years of marriage as the recording of this video, she's in so many ways the same woman that I married, and in many ways different. Because life is changing. Our minds are changing. Our situations around us are changing. Our bodies are changing. Our health is changing. Our spiritual growth is improving, Lord willing. So we are always to be about the business of understanding our wives, and that takes effort. So guys, go for it. She's the one that you are one with in all of the world. You're not one with anybody else. You're one with your wife. The two have become one flesh. So pay attention and understand your wife. God bless you.